Super extreme close up. All right, we're live, Steve. We are live. How are you today, Steve?
I am amazing, Katie Day. How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm very excited, just with everything that's happening right now in the world. Mainly that real estate, travel, and conferences are back. That excites me.
Who's going to Summit in Dallas? Hands up! Whoa.
Hands up. I'm also very excited for this week's guest. Anyways, I'm super pumped for this week's guest. I'll just jump right in. So prior to starting a career in real estate, she was previously in technology, retail, hospitality, lots of different industries, and owned businesses. In addition to being a business owner, she also worked in a corporate career prior to real estate and had roles at some of the largest companies in the world. In real estate now, she is an award-winning real estate broker owner of 2 franchises here in the greater Houston area. She serves as an advisory board member for the Houston Association of Realtors, is a trustee for TREPAC, or the Texas Real Estate Political Action Committee, and chairperson for the Fort Bend Political Action Leadership Group. Plus, she has like a whole alphabet soup of real estate designations, and is super well known in the Houston area as not only an inspirational leader, but a servant leader and a kick-ass broker. Please join me in welcoming Jemila Winsey.
Oh my gosh, seriously, Katie, you just made me like totally blush.
Are you blushing? Is that what's happening right now?
I'm gonna take all of that, and that's gonna be like my intro to everything. Your voice.
That's crazy.
That's my goal.
Love it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here. You may not know this, but you've played a very large part in my life. I feel like where I am in real estate. I don't really actually even know how we met, but you sent me a DM like after we were friends for a while, and it was a link to TRLP, which is the Texas Realtors Leadership Program. And you were like, hey, you need to apply for this. And like, I think that's all you said. It's just like, hey, you need to do this. And I was like, okay. So I like look it up and I'm like, this seems interesting. I really had no idea what it was, but I was like, okay, this lady I kind of know sent me this message that I need to do this. So like, let me look into it. I guess I'll do it. So I like applied and then I got it. And it was like, I don't want to say it was a life-changing experience because I think that but it was seriously like a business life-changing experience. And like, it definitely changed my outlook on the industry. It changed my outlook on leadership. It changed my outlook on getting involved. And I have you to thank for that. So I don't know if I've ever told you that, but just dropping the feelings on you heavy to start.
That's heavy, man. I don't know what to do with all of this. Like, I'm like, right now, because she knows I'm not the most emotional person in the world. So this is
neither am I, dude. I mean,
this is really not fair.
That's how we get each other.
But the funny thing, Stephen actually asked me, and I remember exactly when we met. Remember when I was doing that SRES class where you were sitting next to me?
Yes.
But I'll never forget, like, it just stuck with me. You stuck with me that day.
Right. And I'm still here.
I was just bragging about you. It was like, Pat was like, who's this girl you're always bragging about? So I started following you. So you know what? The feeling is absolutely mutual. I've watched your career just blossom. And I'm just proud of you, like my little sister. You don't even know how much.
This is great.
This is where we do like a big virtual hug.
Right? I know.
That's amazing.
We're both wearing blue today. Who knew, right? Well, you
normally Steve matches the guests, so I'm just happy that it's
This is perfect.
But anyways, all right, let's dig into the meat.
Yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes.
Steve, let's
do it. So, Jemila, how long, for those people who don't know who you are, and I know Katie just laid down the greatest intro of all time, did you always want to be in real estate? Like, walk us through kind of that journey, that path.
The funny thing is, I never thought that I would ever want to be in real estate. I grew up in Nigeria where, as a first child, you go to school, you become a doctor, and you save the entire family, right? It's kind of the way it works. And so coming into this country, I always knew that was just going to be my path: go to school, get a great job, and kill it. And the way that I got into real estate was I was, my first husband. I think my final and second husband's watching this now. Patrick is going to kill me for saying that, but anyways, he was traveling a lot, and I got bored. I got super bored, and I started watching this old commercial infomercial. His name is Carlton Sheets. They call him the father. Well, my Nigerian accent's kicking in now. Father of no of no money down real estate, and that's really how I got into real estate, was buying properties. So at the age of 20, I think I was 23, I bought my first real piece of property with no money down, and by the time I was 26, I had about 26 properties, a few multifamilies, and then
that's all right.
A lot of friends started asking me to put their deals together for them, and they would pay me. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And my attorney was like, Jemila, you're practicing real estate without a license. Can you go get a license? I hated real estate agents. I did not want to be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
But I had to if I was going to continue helping my friends. And that's how I got into the business and absolutely fell in love with it. Like the industry, I fell in love with the industry after that. I just loved the art of the deal. So that was my thing.
Amazing. Amazing. So 26 properties. What does that look like? Like what's your portfolio looking like now? Like you just started off like.
If I told you, I have to kill you, but we do have properties, and we have, things that we invest in and keep equity in, put it that way.
Nice.
Yeah, but the crazy story is, I was married at the time, got divorced, and there's always a bad side to every story, but you learn from it, right? I actually gave up all of them after my divorce, just to walk away. And I had to start over. And but the beautiful thing about the mind, it's your chair. Nobody can take it from you if you're sitting on it. So it's like riding a bike. You just kind of get back in. And since then, of course, we've grown and all that good stuff. So we're, but it's the beauty of starting over. You get to where you want to get to sooner rather than later.
I think you're the only real estate agent I've ever met. Actually, you are the only real estate agent I've ever met who's actually gotten their license based out of a need, not out of a want. Yeah. You were really good without a license. And so based on that, the need was you just had to get your license to do it.
I just had to get it. Yeah, no, and it's crazy. My first year, unintentionally did about 350 GCI. Unintentionally. I had no plan. It's the worst thing in the world.
That's insane. That's insane.
Go ahead, Katie.
I'll say, and that's what's so funny now, like you being a broker owner and a coach and, being coached and all the things that I know you've gotten to today. It's like, if you had someone that was starting out today, you'd be like, don't ever do it the way I did it. Like, yeah, I did well and I, made this money and whatever, but like, I know you set your agents up and your team up for such success that that's hilarious.
Yeah, definitely don't do as I did. But but there's always a second side to it, right? Killed it my first year. My second year I did okay. I mean, I didn't make that much, but my third year I made $35,000. That was the first time I realized that I hadn't mastered the basics. I was just going without a why, it was just, when you're good at something, you're just good at it. But even those people will eventually fail without a plan and without intention. And that was really my turning point.
Would you say that would be the first thing that you learned, the concrete lesson you learned in real estate was about not having a plan?
Absolutely. It was like, because I got to a point, especially around the real estate, around 2008, when everybody in real estate failed, quote unquote. But for me, it was, I was running a real estate company, but I had other businesses. I owned a day spa, I owned a vending business. So I had a lot of irons in the fire. And I think there was this inherent need to be successful because I felt like a failure from my first marriage. And so I think the why eventually dissipated because it was the wrong reason, right? So I had to learn to ask myself, who are you and what are you doing? And so what happens after that is when you start asking yourself those right questions, you guys are familiar with the phrase, right? The quality of your life is kind of quality of the questions you ask yourselves, then the right answers start to come. So I had to start restructuring a lot of things in my life so I could be happy and not burnt out, and which I was at some point I was seriously burnt out.
Wow.
So But that's the other side of that, the part that people didn't get to see, right?
Yeah. I'd like to fast forward a little bit because obviously, you kind of did your own thing. You were, helping out friends, lucked into a lot of business, and kind of had your ups and downs, right? So let's kind of skip over to like the point in which you all decided that you're going to open a brokerage. Like, what was the tipping point for you? You're like, you know what? Like, let's go all in on this real estate thing. Let's.
I know, right? I was crazy. I don't know why I did that, but I hope my agents aren't watching this. No, honestly,
we love you. Though.
We were really blessed. One thing that we were really good at is niching ourselves. So we rarely played in the same pond that everybody played in. And while people were trying to chase, resale homes, we owned a whole foreclosure department where we had contracts and things like that. Or we focused on multifamily or international real estate. I traveled all over the world and always looked for opportunities, right? And so we've been really blessed in that field. When we decided to go into brokerage, the idea was that we were going to scale up. And I'm a big systems person. And so we didn't want to just start a brokerage from scratch, knowing that there were companies that could provide the tools and all that stuff for us, right? And so we just started looking at franchises from that perspective. And the idea was to give back. It's not just about owning a real estate company or a brokerage. It's really about running a business, which is really my passion. If you take real estate out of it, I will still be running something. Right. And that's really where my passion lies. And one of the things I know in real estate is a lot of real estate agents are not good business people. And so, I mean, I don't know if you've ever met a retired realtor. I don't know a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
And that's really where the passion lies. And so even with our brokerage, the agents that come in and really dig in and plug in are people that are encouraged to continuously think outside of the box. Real estate is what you do, but there's so much more outside of it. And that's really what we want to do is to give back to people with that type of mindset. Because you may have the mindset, but not have the know-how. So,
and when you're looking to make that alignment with with an organization, what are some of the key things that you're looking for as, in terms of alignment, in terms of growth and scaling? What are some things, that really kind of stand out for you?
So, that's a great question. Several years into this, I guess, the first questions when we first started asking, when we would, looking to buy a brokerage was obviously systems, tools, support, all the stuff that you look for in a franchise, right? As we move through our legacy plan is what I call it, we're now looking for opportunities that service and help our agents out. How do they get to build how do they get to get ancillary income outside of real estate sales? Because we're all getting older, right? And how does the company that we work with support that, right? And so we're looking more at that next level of growth and scalability, and how quickly can we grow, and how much support do we get around that? So, and I think I just kind of answered two questions versus the first one you asked. The first one, the first one.
Make up your own questions over here. I love it.
I'm making up. The first one is really around tools, systems, support. I don't want to think about having to figure out how to build a website when I can sit with you and talk to you about, building your business, right? Even though we may know how to do it, I'm a tech head by nature. I mean, I'm trained tech head, but I'm also a tech head by nature. I'm the one that broke a bunch of computers just to see how they worked. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at from that perspective. So we can just focus on what needs to be focused on. That's
amazing. That's fantastic. Currently, how big is your operation? Share with people. Yeah.
We have 2 offices, about 67 agents between both of them.
Wow.
We bought our franchise about 5 years ago, but we lost 2 years, almost 2 years because of Hurricane Harvey. So we opened about 3.5 years ago with about eight agents. As a matter of fact, when I met Katie, I think I only had 4 agents. And we hadn't even opened yet. So.
And now you're at 67. Yes. Well done.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's not
bad.
Can't complain.
I love it.
Thanks.
Let's get a little tactical here. Agents starting off, we talked about having a plan. Apart from a plan, what might be the first thing that you would absolutely require from an agent who just got their license on your team? What would be one thing that you would expect that they have, or you would coach to ensure that they have in their very first year of real estate?
Good habits. You got to master the basics. Same thing I had to learn my third year in the business is really what I try to, to let folks know. A lot of folks get into this business, obviously, as you know. I think a lot of real estate agents, successful or not, got into this business because of the high priced, the high ticket sales, right? And so you count those commissions and you're thinking that's just, I'm going to get my license and they will come. Well, let's talk about mindset, for instance. If you don't make at least 5 to 10 calls a day and you go to sleep at night, going to bed thinking you had a good day, then you failed. And so the conversation I have with my agents is, if it's not habit, if you feel like crap because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, then that's a good habit. So for me, it's the same thing today that I did back then that I do today. I know how to build my pipeline and I know how to basically operate off of a small one. As a broker, I don't do as much production, and I only focus on my I still produce, excuse me, but I only focus on my core list of my book of business. I rarely look for new business. And I tell my agents, the reason I can do that is because of the habit that was created over the years. And I still do it. I still go to bed thinking, what did I do today to make my business grow? And sometimes it's okay to forgive yourself, but that is the last thing on my mind before going to bed. And so if you can't get yourself to form that consistent habit, and so I'll say, hey, listen, it starts really small. Make 5 phone calls a day. Tell 5 people that that you do real estate, and then just watch your pipeline grow. So that's the first thing. And of course, the second thing is get to your first, get to your first 150 people in your database that know you sell real estate, know you transact in the business, and know you're serious about it.
What would you say is the biggest obstacle? So many agents that we speak to just don't make calls. They stare blankly at their phones, hoping that someone's going to call them about selling $1 million property. What would you say? So someone who's such an advocate on such a rock solid mindset, what would you say is the biggest reason as to why people have a fear of the phone, and how do I get over that?
That's actually a really great question. Most people, it's an obvious answer, right? People are afraid of rejection, right? And if the fear of not calling someone you haven't spoken to in 5 years, is more of, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm crap. Yeah, you're crap, but
no sugarcoating it over here.
Well, seriously,
yeah,
my house 5 years ago, you have talked to him? Like, what in the world? No, it's the emotional to get through that. What I always say is, fear of rejection is an emotional response. If they don't know you, there's no reason for them to be angry or mad at you. So why do you feel like you're going to get that reaction out of them when they don't even know you enough? So if they're trying to reject you, understand that it's not personal. They're just rejecting what's going on in that moment that has nothing to do with you. So that's what helped me, and it helps a lot of people too. But it's fear. But that's a learned behavior, isn't it?
Yeah, and as humans, what is it? We're more likely to do things to avoid pain versus doing things to go towards pleasure, right? And I think that's just basic human instinct. No, but that's great. That's great.
Get out of the business.
Yeah. Sorry, Katie. This is where Katie tells me to stop asking questions because I ask too many questions.
Great question, though.
So Katie, your next round of questions.
My next question, I don't really have a round. It was really just I had a question, and you went on your tangent, and then
Sorry.
now we're circling it back to the tracks. No, I mean, I think that that's huge. And I think that just kind of going back to the basics and mastering those is so important. So I guess, kind of we're talking about new agents, right? Just getting your license, things like that. Let's kind of shift it a little bit to someone maybe that's a little bit more experienced, right? And say they're just, a solid producer, have kind of always done the same level of production and helped the same amount of clients every year. What's kind of, I guess, a tactical thing that you would do, or kind of dig into their business to see where you can get them from A to B, or to kind of break that plateau?
Yeah, no, that's actually good. You guys are asking some really awesome questions. I'm surprised I actually have answers. I'm like, okay, but no, it's my answer. I don't know if it's the right answer, but the biggest thing when you're a producer and you get to a certain level of production, so if you're consistently doing $150,000, $200,000 a year and you just can't seem to break that, what I usually look at when I'm digging into their business is I'm trying to find the gaps. As an agent, if you don't have leverage, you will plateau at a certain point. And so if you're looking at pillars of income, the first thing I'm asking, obviously, okay, where is your money coming from, right? So if it's 3 pillars, 4 pillars, let's look at those pillars and really dig in to find out where the holes are. If it's conversion, if it's lead generation. And so we just kind of dig in. It's kind of like I started putting some of my corporate analytical questioning in there. If you've exhausted, but if you've exhausted those pillars and you still want to open up another pillar of your business, another pillar to your business, let's identify that. But ultimately, let's find leverage. Everyone does not have to build a team, right? You don't have to bring a buyer's agent and all that stuff just to get to that next level. You might just need a transaction coordinator, or you might just need an assistant to free up some more time to focus on getting in new business. Because if you're plateauing at 3 pillars and you can't seem to bring another line of business in, then you literally reach the max that your time can allow. So now let's start looking at the return on investment on time versus money. And so those are the kinds of conversations that we have for agents in that situation. And so, I'm going to shut up now. Because I
could just do this all day. Like it's so operational, the way that you just laid that out, which I am definitely drawn towards. So that's amazing. Jemila, what would you say is in all of your years of experience and having such strong vision, what would you say would be the next potential, I'm going to use my air quotes, potential disruptor in the real estate industry? Like years ago, it was Zillow. Yeah. But but you also come from a great tech background as well, right? And so, what would you say might be that next kind of disruptor to our industry?
Yeah, you should be a fly on the wall at my house. Katie knows my and so these. I mean, we're such nerds. These are the conversations we have after going home from work. It's terrible,
This is why we can't do happy hour, because this is all the conversation would turn into.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's break down your business some more. What? Where are
they? Have whiteboards all over the house. And I look at them like, seriously, this is what we do over tequila. It's terrible. This is amazing foreplay here. Anyways.
This is the best podcast. This one is the best.
But to answer your question, I know we're short on time. We're really, when you really look at it, the writing is on the wall for a lot of businesses that aren't really running business. There, you will find brokerages, and then you'll find brokerages that are run as an enterprise. That's a goal for us, right? Is we want to be able to run an enterprise brokerage. But knowing that, we know the technology is in the forefront. We know that top producing agents are going to be looking for more than just their normal splits and things like that. I believe that companies that are able to find a way to make their agents wealthier, not say richer, but wealthier, building passive income, but at the same time providing the technology and tools to help them grow. Additionally, which is just a really strong component, is helping them create systems that put all of this together. I think any company that's able to pull these things together is a winner. I don't want to name any names, But yeah, you guys can probably read between the lines on those.
So for those of people who can't read between the lines,
Don't put me on the spot. We're not doing this.
All right, we'll go to the next question because I think everyone can do 2 + 2. So
I hope people can read between the lines. It's like 2 + 2 is equal 6.
But so can I ask you though? But why has it taken so long? Why has it taken so long for there to be a model that has disrupted the industry?
I think real estate has always been behind the times. I mean, when you really think about it, our industry has always been behind what's going on, in technology and everything else. There are people like you guys that are coming in, and you're disrupting your state, and people are beginning to see that. And so the more you guys grow, the more there's more innovation and people thinking outside of the box. We've always been an industry of we've never done it that way before.
I like that.
So if you think about the heroes that have come in and really said, you know what, why not? Let's just try it this way and see if it works.
And not to, but just like rewinding, right? Like we've always done it this way, right? Like, Remax, right? How many ever years ago was a disruptor? Like,
Don't name names.
Okay. But every single brokerage, I feel like that's a new player in the industry is called a disruptor, right? Like every single thing. If you think about every single brokerage that someone at, like they were once called a disruptor. What they're doing was once called a disruptor. So, I think that I'll just stop.
No, you're right, Katie. Disruption has always existed. Obviously, I was going to say we were supposed to be franchise agnostic, but we do own a Remax brokerage, a couple of Remax brokerages. One thing I love about Remax is that they were the first disruptors. They went in there and said, I'm no longer paying my broker 50% of my income for him to sit behind the desk and I go do all the work. So he created Remax, which is Real Estate Maximum. And then he basically said, hey, pay your way and you get 100% of your commission. And, there were times when they would go to conventions and people were throwing things at them because, and then, KW showed up and, Zillow and so on and so forth. There's always been disruption. We're going through a new wave of it, but you have to be able to read the trend lines to see what does this look like 10 years from now, because that's where you want to be. It doesn't matter which ship you decide to ride in or what bus you decide to ride in. It's a matter of when you make goals for yourself. The question is not whether or not you get there, because you will get there. Is am I on the right bus to give me the right investment on the time I spend on this particular investment?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the best way to look at it. Agents are people always going to look for the next shiny tool and this, that, and the other. It's all good. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's a matter of, does it get you what you want? And is this going to be okay for me and my family? Because at the end, ultimately, that's what we're thinking about is our family, is our legacy, right? So
can I ask you a question? Well, obviously, you running such a successful operation, 67 licensed agents right now, how do you retain, like we get people from all, like every aspect in terms of the real estate paradigm, like in terms of retention, right? We understand that people join teams primarily for the fact that, like, if I'm going to join your team, it's because I'm going to get leads and I'm going to be able to close a higher dollar amount. Although that's important, would you say that there's something before that in terms of retention? Like retention to build people, like you just said, you're shiny, you're new, I want to join that, I want to do this, fantastic, drink the Kool-Aid, great. But in terms of retention, does your organization ever struggle with retention? And if so, how do you work through that?
Absolutely. It is a known fact in this industry that your commodity are the real estate agents. They can walk out of the door anytime. But what you have is not for everybody. What we have is not for everybody. And so the only goal that I have is to give 150% of what we can give. And if it's not enough, It's just not enough. Not every culture is going to fit. I remember when my first agent walked out of the door and I thought that my business was going to be over and I just wanted to just die because I poured so much into that person.
Mm.
And so I had to change my philosophy on it because you can get to a certain point with me and you need to get another point somewhere else. Or, so at the end of the day, retention is going to be a problem anywhere else because a lot of them are emotional decisions. I could walk into my office today and my agents don't like the shoes I have on and walk out of the door. Can't do anything about that. I can beg you to stay.
You've got some nice shoes too. So that would be very unfortunate. Like,
I can beg you to stay. So I guess I say all that to say this: since our goal is really more than just the money making aspect of this, if you walk out of my door 10% better, 50% better, 5% better than you came in, then I've done my job. Wow. So I just need more and more people that trust and believe that that's what they're going to get out of me at the time that they're with us. That's my philosophy on retention.
That's great. Spoken like a true coach. And a role model, superhero, everything.
No capes. No capes.
Well, Jemila, you know what? We're going to end off the podcast with this question that stumps everyone. It's the question of questions. All right. It has nothing to do with real estate. And the question is this. It is your last day on earth. And you have the option of, obviously you have the option of a last meal. What would that last meal be? Either you're making it, someone's making it for you, or you're going to get it. What is your last meal?
Dang, wow. I'm such a foodie. That's a tough one. Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna have to say, it'd have to be my mom's jollof rice. It's a Nigerian dish. She makes the best. I could pick anything, but I got to get something that's close to here. And if that's the last thing I'm going to have, is mom's cooking.
I love it. Amazing.
You know what? I think this is actually the first time someone has chosen like a family recipe or like
it's the first time.
Because like we've gotten some good ones, and then we've gotten a few a pepperoni pizza. I think you know who that is. James, but yeah,
James doesn't want to eat.
He doesn't eat anything.
He doesn't want to eat. He's too inconvenienced with eating. Like, I don't got time for eating.
Food is for regular people.
It's fine. He's like, it's totally fine. But no, thank you guys for having me. This was fun. 30 minutes went by so quickly.
Yeah. It did go by so fast. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead, Katie.
We're both such awkward people. Steve and I both thank you, Jemila, very much for coming on today. It was so much fun catching up and hanging out, and appreciate, as always, your knowledge and info. Steve, anything? Oh, if people want to find you online, where can they find you online?
Oh, best is Instagram or Facebook, Jemila Winsey. I am literally the only one in the world so far.
There he is.
From Pat. See, my husband's always stalking me. I call him my personal stalker.
Well, at least you're married to him, so there's that.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Really, you're amazing. Such an inspiration.
Thank you. Bye, Katie. I'm going to call you.